Michael Savage here. How are you today? How do I double tap this so that people can start joining? We're going to have a little visit today to another location. No politics today, if you don't mind, just other stuff. So, hello everybody. It's 2:15, 2:13 on Saturday. A bit of an art gallery. Some of my paintings, not that I painted, but some of the paintings that I've collected. I'm just going to peek at some of them, mainly 1890s, 1880s. He's a German artist. It's really amazing. I love this one, monks and soldiers. I tend to like nautical paintings, as you can see up in the gallery here. I'm just doing a quick tour. These are figurative pieces that are really interesting. I love them. Here is the caricature of me from the New Yorker cartoon guy. I love it. Look very much like a gnome. And just some of the other little things I've collected along the way over the years in this particular location. There's a beautiful Barbara Deanne bronze. That's a portrait of me done in the 1980s by Joe Gibson. Wonderful piece. That was me collecting plants in the Fiji Islands. You'll notice the purple fruit in my left hand. The plant is Degenaria vitiensis, one of the rarest plants on Earth. It's a monotypic species and a monotypic genus for those of you in the world of botany. I'm just giving you a quick look over some of these antiquated items in here. Little music stand that I had refinished. Really like that. I guess I should open an antique store, but I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm still in the radio business. Let's see, coming down this road here, some modern art. And this is an interesting ship model here that I bought in. You can see me here, I guess that's okay. Hi everybody. It's interesting actually, all the colors. This ship model I purchased in 1975 in an antique store in Marblehead, Massachusetts. And it's a builder's model, meaning, you know, the model of a ship that someone had built for themselves. It's got little, like a dollhouse inside. There's cabins and bunks in there. You go down the steps. And if you look it up, you may be able to find the history of it, those of you who are into this. I forget the name of the ship. It's on the back, on the stern here. I can't even read it truthfully. The light's the wrong way. I think it's the Shearwater, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it's a beautiful model, and the story for me, for my family, is I bought this ship in Marblehead in 1975 when I was doing a project at the Harvard Botanical Museum. And I took it with me all the way back to Hawaii, if you can believe it, in perfect shape. Didn't have a case at the time. Well, it lived in Hawaii. Then when I moved to California in 1974, moved it to California, not one line on this ship broke. Well, then I had it in a house in California. Oh God, many years ago, there was a party and a group of kids came over with their parents, unruly children, and one of the jerk children thought that this was a violin, I guess, and he broke all the rigging on the ship. Well, what can I do? Luckily, I found a man who does this, re-rigged it, and then he built me this case, this plexi case, and it's been perfect ever since. Love it, the Shearwater. So those are some of the objects. Now, I was going to do this, I'll do this another day. These are what I collect. Each of my best-selling books, I have a plaque made by my publisher. It's one of my little, you know, I like it. It's like my Academy Award. So the last book, God, Faith, and Reason, you can see where it is on the New York Times list. It was number 11. Trump's War, as you can see if you look closely, despite what Fox News doesn't want you to know. Trump's War became number 1 without the help of the great Fox News. They only have talk shows, fill-ins as talk show hosts. That's how low they become. So you can see Scorched Earth, Diseases Without Borders, Trump's War, God, Faith, and Reason. And well, we got all the others here. Liberalism is a Mental Disorder. Many people are quoting it and don't even know it's my book. They think they invented it. I love it. That book went to number 6 on the New York Times list. See, these are beautifully done. And then this is a great one. The Enemy Within, number 7. We're talking about what year? 04. I've been at this a little while, and it went to number 7, The Enemy Within. Great picture on the cover, taken against the building in North Beach. I love that picture. The shadow was just perfect. So those were some of them, but then there are more here. Here is Trickle Down Tyranny, went to number 3. Then there was my novel, Abuse of Power, went to number 4. I guess you don't know I'm a novelist as well, because no one in the San Francisco area knows me as a writer. See, I don't write about Jenny has 3 mommies or Harry has 4 communist fathers. But this was a best-selling book, Abuse of Power. There were 2 other novels that were bestsellers. I don't even have the plaques for them. You all remember Stop the Coming Civil War, right? That one was in 2014, God Time Flies. That went to the list, and I don't know where, but it's somewhere here. I can't really find it. Here it is, number 5 by Academy Awards. Trickle Up Poverty was a number 2 book. Government Zero, I love that book in 2015. Government Zero, again, no television, went to number 3 without the great Fox News. They were afraid of me. This was a great book. 2003, The Savage Nation. This book went to number 1 on the New York Times list way back in 2003. It was the first one in the series. Just coming up the steps, just for a moment, there's my animal friend with great eyes. No comment. More little ship models. I kind of like ship models. Here's another interesting ship model for those of you into ship models. Isn't it gorgeous, like a real ship? Because it is. This ship was in a museum, and the museum directors got rid of the, I don't know when, 15 years ago. I bought this at auction for not a lot of money. It's gorgeous. I love it. You can see it's quite big and quite detailed. And the name of this ship is the Marie San Diego. The Marie San Diego. You can see those if you want to research it. There was actually a ship by that name. It is another builder's model. I just love models. So, model ships, books, 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 old radios, down the steps we go. And here we go. Let's see where we're going to go. Now, I've just come back from a drive with Teddy in a 1970 XK. I was going to do a periscope in the car, but I chose not to. It just got too complicated. Some fool was on my tail, and I waved him off, and he tried to drive me off the road instead I drove him off the road. Anyway, here we are. It's cooling off. That's why I lift the hood after a ride. These things get so damn hot. It's a little hot rod. I've had everything rebuilt on this car. This engine was pulled for a clutch, and I had decided to have everything done. This is a 4.2 liter triple carb XKE 1970. Everything's been rebuilt in this car, even the front end down to the last bushing. There's not an old bushing in here. Everything, tie rods, arms, A-arms, you name it. Everything's done. Brakes. Now you'll see here these are not the original cast iron headers. I had stainless headers put on and stainless pipes put on all the way to the rear. I bought the car in this condition, except for the physically in this condition, externally. But she's a beautiful car and a fun thing to drive. This car in 1970 was so ahead of its time. The Jaguar engineers were so ahead of their time. They had independent rear suspension on these cars, and it handles in a way that no other car that I've ever driven handles. So you can see the lines on it are gorgeous. This is a Series 2 1970, as I said. XKE. Over here, this is on the covers. This is a different car, another Jag. One of these days, I'll give you the Jag tour. But that was a great drive on that one. All right, one last little peek here. This is the 1960 XK150 drophead coupe. It's a magnificent, fussy old car. Very similar engine, but it's a 3.8 liter. I put a flag, British flag, on it. You see these cars are magnificent. They're just the way they're made. There's something about them that either you like them or you don't. This is a black. This car is a heritage certificate car. This is exactly the way it came out of the factory. Black, red leather. It's on the heritage certificate. It's a similar engine, but 3.8 liters, double carbs, not triple, and totally different animal to drive. It's magnificent looking. But this was in 1961, and when they went to 70. This car, the XKE, was really a street version of the D-Jag racing car, and that's why it's so much more fun to drive. First of all, this car, the E, has a floor that drops down. It's not a flat floor, because these flat floor cars are impossible to drive. You sit with your feet straight out. They're very uncomfortable. Nevertheless, it's gorgeous. There's not a ripple in the sheet metal. Those of you who are into old cars, you see the sheet metal on the side of this car? There's not a ripple in the whole damn thing. So that's it. That's the little tour of placards, cars, junk on the floor, a little, just the way it is. Now, what else would you like me to do? I see the bubbles coming up. You saw cars. You saw plaques. This is what I do on my day off. Here's Teddy. He just took a nice ride. Hi, Teddy. Say hello to the crowd. And I guess one day I'll take you for a ride in the Hellcat. The library is in another location. Is there anything else I could do to placate the audience today on the Savage Nation? Because I'm about to sign off. I just wanted to say hello. There's some interesting pieces of art in here as well. Each piece has a different story. For example, you see these ugly things? You may think they're nothing. They're garbage. Anyone who knows anything about them, these are 16th century food dogs from China. And they were hidden by the Chinese after the friends of Bernie Sanders took over China and destroyed all bourgeois art. These were hidden, all food dogs were hidden, and luckily they were rescued. Look at the color, the chromatics. These are wood. They're extremely rare and very hard to understand why they're so valuable, but they are. Anyway, my friends, that's that. Let's see what we have here. These were collected in Israel in 1977, and they tell biblical stories for those of you who are interested in the Bible. Those of you who can read Hebrew will see the story. They're biblical stories, usually of travels and whatnot. And this was by a folk artist of his time, I don't even remember. These are some books. These rare books are from my years of collecting. I mean, my master's degree in anthropology. These are some of the books from that period. They're little monographs for those of you in the academic universe. And that's it. There's a lot more to talk about on the air and off the air. Can you step outside? We can see the water and tell us a New York story. Well, I'll step outside. Teddy is going to snooze away. We'll step outside, and I'm up on a hill somewhere. There it is. Only God can make a view like this, right? So you can see it's an isolated location, and thank God there's no noise right now. And that, my friends, is the Savage Tour of the day. I know many of you want me to double tap the screen and expose my face. You like the hat? I look horrible in baseball caps, and that's why I don't wear them. I think they make every man look terrible. I love hats, but I don't like baseball hats, so I'll take that right off. I don't know, if anyone were to design a hat, a product for a head that made a man look bad, it would be a baseball. All right, look, folks, I've come to some new decisions with my career, and I pretty much have decided to stay in radio for a very long time, and I'll be telling you more about that as the weeks go on. And, you know, I don't want to go into talking about other hosts, but I will tell you what Giuliani and Hannity did to Trump this week. The minute I saw it, I knew what they were doing. They made a disastrous mistake, a disastrous error. They said Jared Kushner's disposable, like a tissue. Then he contradicted the president and almost indicted his own client, that drunk, that stumblebum drunk. Who led him on? Hannity, the genius. A real genius. Everyone he has on, he kind of brings him down the primrose path. I have nothing against Sean Hannity, but let me tell you something. He didn't do the president a favor, nor did he do anyone in the family a favor, and they know it too. That's my opinion. They know it. They know it as well as I did the minute I saw it. So things are changing very rapidly. You're going to be very surprised at the shifting sands and such in the support of the president, who really supports him, who quasi-supports him, who didn't support him and now makes believe they do. He knows the truth. Finally, I guess I'll close with this. How do I make it go the other way? Yeah, now here's an interesting piece from the beginning. It's positively frightening. New Guinea when the art was still being made, and I have a large collection of art in another location. What they did was they created family stories with their shields. This was a shield, a ceremonial shield. And if you look at it carefully, you can see elements of generations in this picture. People look at this and they get frightened of the face, and they get frightened of the effigies, and they get frightened of the symbolism. And I have a great deal of respect for the power of these things. But I don't disrespect them, but I don't worship them. I just understand them. And on that note, I will let you go. And this is Michael, again, 1984, plant collector. Maybe I'll go back to doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for indulging me. I appreciate it. Michael signing off now. Bye.